This series of stories is aimed at alumni from St Anne's College, Oxford.
Hi, my name is Leela Spinks. I studied at St Anne's from 1964 to 1967. I matriculated in 1964. I studied modern history, only in my case it wasn't particularly modern because I chose to specialise for my European history in the period 919 to 1273. And then I chose for my special subjects, I chose the Byzantine Empire under Emperor Justinian for one of them, and Byzantium in the 10th century for the other one. It was the first time that these topics were available to students. I was one of the first people to study them and felt extremely privileged to do so. I also had the privilege of the most amazing, possibly the most amazing teacher I have ever known, Peter Brown, who was my Justinian tutor on Justinian and the 5th century. He was an inspiration.
Have you got any notable memories from St Anne's?
So many, you know. I have so many notable memories from St Anne's. I can't tell you. I think maybe if I start with when I first went for an interview there, and from the moment you walked in and that special mixture of polish and books that you got in the hall as you walked in, and all the people were so nice, the dons were lovely, everyone was so friendly, and a lovely girl took me round and showed me everything, and I felt I'd been a sort of bit of an oddball, being half Indian and half English, both in India and of course at my public school in Cheltenham. And when I got to St Anne's for the first time since I left India, I felt at home. From that first interview and then the subsequent excitement when I realised that I had actually got a place at St Anne's, which was one of the best moments of my life, I have to be honest. It went on from there, and I remember, for instance, the night that Harold Wilson won the general election. I was actually in the library, unusually for me, at 10 o'clock at night, and I heard the librarian come in and say, "Cheltenham's gone. That's the end of us." And the next morning, Mrs. Hart looked at us as we all sat there, looking slightly ashen-faced at her tutorial, and said, "Well, you've all had a very exciting night. I'll excuse you whatever work you were meant to have done." So that was wonderful. And then St Anne's gave me a natural belief in my ability to tackle most situations. And while I was working in agencies in the 70s, it gave me a lot of perspective as we had one crisis after another to remember. It also helped when I started my own business, which I did when my children were small, and I like to think I ran it on St Anne's lines, which was, we were rigorous in fact-checking, we were totally straight, and we hope we had a generosity of spirit as well.
And are you still in contact with many of your friends from St Anne's?
Indeed. I mean, the friendships were some of the most important things, you know, those cups of coffee and cocoa late at night as we talked about everything, mainly boys, it has to be said, but occasionally other things as well. Lifelong friendships. My great friend Sue has been a fantastic friend and support, even though for 35 years the Atlantic Ocean has separated us. The lovely linguists I knew too, Anna and Mare and Rosemary and Teresa and Judy, and they were just smashing girls, and you know, and Joe, of course, the architect. Whenever we could, we've got together and stayed in touch and stayed friends. I certainly remember interactions with students from other colleges. Leaving aside the fact that in my day there was one woman to every 5 male students, we'll set that aside because that would take a whole afternoon on its own. There were also very good interactions in terms of certainly the tutorial groups, particularly where we specialised, the Byzantine tutorial groups. I remember a splendid chap called Richard from Brasenose. He was my partner, and it was great. We helped and supported each other a lot. And then there were the official sort of St Anne's parties. They arranged a joint drinks party with Balliol, which I attended, which was also great fun. I'm not quite sure what the point of it was, but it certainly, perhaps they felt our choice of young gentlemen wasn't as elevated as it should be. Spend my time in the pub. There was a very nice pub in Summertown called the Gardener's Arms, where I probably spent my formative years. On rare occasions, we went dancing at the Oxford Union, a wrestling match at the Town Hall. I remember one of the protagonists was called Crusher Verdun. I think he was the bad guy. To parties, of course, a lot of parties. The changes, I've seen them happen gradually, but they are absolutely incredible compared with what we had when we were there.
And would you recommend St Anne's to new students?
Of course, I would recommend St Anne's to new students. I am sure they would find, like I did and so many of my friends, that you arrive a little rough around the edges, maybe a little shy, a little uncertain of your place, and you find yourself at home. You find whatever happens to you, you know, the essay crises, the heartbreaks. St Anne's is a safe place, and you grow up, and you grow strong, and you grow wise in very, very good company.
We would love to capture more stories from St Anne's alumni, and so if you would like to take part, please contact us on the email address below.